He was shot 19
times. And that's why I think they grabbed Rob for the murder, because it's overkill. It ain't self-defense 19 times.
In the midst of Chicago's brutal street gang war between Drill City and Trap City, the conflict claimed the life of bloodhound Lil Jeff. Though gone, Lil Jeff left behind chilling footage that reflected the dangerous life he led. From being caught on camera getting ambushed while pursuing an enemy into their home, to recklessly flashing his gun and threatening a stranger on the street, his actions painted a grim picture. He even boasted about the number of bodies he had taken, leaving behind a legacy as intense as the streets he roamed.
I'm from Bushy. That's 11. You're gonna be 8 and I'm gonna scan your scary ass.
In this video, I'll show you 5 haunting final moments of Lil Jeff, but first, take a look at how he was caught on camera in his last moments. They say the higher you rise, the harder you fall, and that couldn't be truer for Lil Jeff. The most chilling part? Bloodhound Lil Jeff spent his career rapping about dropping bodies and increasing his body count, only to be taken out on camera himself. His death marked one of the most shocking twists in Chicago's drill scene, as he was literally caught in action on the streets. One of Lil Jeff's lyrics once said, "Every time I see an op, I drop my mask." He wasn't exaggerating. The most devastating event to hit the Bloodhounds unfolded in broad daylight on June 8, 2024. On that day, Lil Jeff Q50 and another crew member were caught standing on business in surveillance footage later released to the public. The footage shows Lil Jeff and his gang pulling up in a black SUV, spotting a target, and immediately springing into action. As soon as the squad locked eyes on their rival, Lil Jeff flung the car door open and started firing shots. The target, a man in bright yellow shorts, quickly ducked behind a car before making a desperate run for a nearby porch while still being fired at by Lil Jeff. At this point, I knew Chicago was on a different level when I saw Lil Jeff dressed in a black Nike hoodie and gray joggers, fearlessly chasing his target straight into their home. But what happened next was nothing short of tragic. While Lil Jeff was locked in on his target, his homies stayed back by the car, firing at the gray vehicle nearby. For some reason, they didn't follow him. Lil Jeff, however, was relentless. He hit his target and pursued him right onto the porch, like a scene straight out of a movie. But just when it seemed like he had the upper hand, the unthinkable happened. The killer, who had long fantasized about chasing an op into their home, just as he rapped about countless times, finally lived out his vision only for it to be a one-time experience. As Lil Jeff stormed into the porch, someone inside the house struck back, unleashing a deadly counterattack. Bullets tore through him, sending him tumbling to the ground, where he lay lifeless. Bloodhound Lil Jeff was no more. Word on the street was that the shooter didn't hold back, emptying an entire magazine into Jeff. Surveillance footage captured Q50 and the other crew member rushing toward the porch, trying to cover their fallen ally. But the shooter unleashed such relentless fire that they had no choice but to retreat, dodging the storm of bullets. Reports later confirmed that while Jeff was already down, he was shot 19 times, and authorities recovered over 58 spent shell casings from the scene. According to Spot News, the shooting took place on the 6600 block of South Rhodes Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Bloodhound Lil Jeff was rushed to the hospital, but his injuries were too severe. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. As news of his death spread across social media, fans and fellow artists flooded the internet with tributes to the fallen rapper. Lil SC89, a close associate of the Bloodhounds, shared a series of Instagram stories mourning his friend, writing, "I love you and gonna be with you real soon," followed by, "Damn Bruda, this sh*t don't feel real." Another tribute came from AMF Visuals, a videographer who had worked with Jeff. He posted a picture of the rapper alongside a heart, collaborated on a music video titled Ah, a song I remember vibing to when I first heard it. It wasn't until later that I realized Jeff had been rapping about a murder he committed. The ah in the title was the sound his victim made as bullets tore through him. As expected, reactions to Lil Jeff trying to chase someone off the street and into their own home is the ultimate crash-out move. Lil Jeff may have thought he was living out his fantasies, but reality had other plans. One comment sparked a debate by comparing Lil Jeff to King Von, as many have called them two of a kind. However, the commenter argued that Von represented Chicago more than Jeff. While Jeff was a raw glimpse into the modern-day Chicago street wars, Von's story reflected the full cycle of gang life. In the city, Von had actually been to jail for bodies, beat his case, and survived in the trenches for nearly a decade. He started young, just like most gang members, and his journey mirrored what happens to many in Chicago's gang culture. Following Lil Jeff's tragic death, rumors quickly spread about the identity of his killer. Despite having countless enemies, word on the street pointed to one named Trap City Rob. But how did people arrive at this conclusion? As soon as news of Lil Jeff's murder hit, Chicago's social media scene exploded, especially on Reddit, where users flooded discussions with disses aimed at the hood allegedly responsible for sending Jeff to his grave. To defend their side, someone warned, "Trap City is in danger forever now." While the trolling continued, others focused on uncovering the identity of the shooter. Just 2 days after the murder, discussions on chronology began linking the crime to Trap City Rob. The speculation gained traction because Rob had been arrested multiple times at the same apartment complex where the shots that killed Jeff were fired. It wasn't long before images of Trap City Rob started circulating online, with captions declaring him a wanted man and Lil Jeff's killer allegedly on the run. In an interview following the incident, Trap City Rob addressed the violence that has overtaken Chicago's drill culture. He claimed to dislike the bloodshed, but admitted to loving the energy surrounding it. He also spoke about his role as a rapper in the city, insisting that he would never use his music to promote street violence. According to Rob, he remains critically aware of his environment and the forces shaping life in Chicago's underworld.
Okay.
He went on to explain that he believes the violence in the streets is a calculated plot to make black people destroy themselves, and unfortunately, many are falling for it. However, he made it clear that he refuses to be a victim of the cycle. According to him, most black people are underdeveloped and lack the emotional intelligence to see that the violence glorified in drill music is not just entertainment, but a trap designed to keep them locked in a cycle of self-destruction.
Black man is very underdeveloped and undereducated in America. Ooh, no, just listen, bro. When it comes to emotional intelligence, reasoning, people getting shot over shoes. That's not being emotionally intelligent.
Unfortunately, not all Chicago rappers share Rob's perspective. While Rob was gaining knowledge about consciousness and black culture, Lil Jeff was out in the streets doing the complete opposite. Take, for example, the viral video of Lil Jeff versus the homeless dude. This controversial footage, which has been making rounds on the internet, captures a heated interaction between Jeff and a homeless man. The video sparked a wave of reactions from fans, and I'll tell you exactly what.
I caught me on missing action. Yeah, what up, Joe? How you coming? You ever seen one of these? You think you can run from this? Get your ass back.
My first reaction when I saw this video was, what did I just watch? At first, it seemed like a joke. I thought Lil Jeff was about to show the homeless man some love, maybe even give back to the streets. But then, out of nowhere, Jeff pulled out his blick and started threatening the man for no apparent reason. I bet the homeless dude initially thought he was being called over for something good when he heard, "What up, Joe?" He even began walking toward the car until Jeff suddenly switched up. This incident reignited debates about the legal implications of using music and videos as evidence in criminal cases. While some argue that lyrics and visuals are purely creative storytelling, others believe they can serve as confessions or even incitements to violence. This tension underscores the challenges law enforcement faces in balancing the need for evidence with respecting artistic freedom. In today's digital age, social media plays a huge role in shaping public perception, especially among young people. For individuals like Lil Jeff, platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube weren't just tools for self-promotion. They also became vehicles for glorifying gang life, influencing countless impressionable viewers. Lil Jeff's online presence was carefully curated to project an image of power, excitement, and notoriety. Through posts and videos, he highlighted his music, gang affiliations, and confrontations with rivals, creating an illusion of invincibility. But the allure of this lifestyle, as presented on social media, often overshadowed its brutal realities. For many young people, the perceived glamour and respect associated with gang culture were enticing, leading them to idolize and emulate figures like Lil Jeff. His online persona, built on bravado and aggression, only fueled the cycle further. Fearlessness became a blueprint for those looking to escape their circumstances and gain recognition. However, the glorification of gang culture on social media also played a major role in fueling violence and rivalry. Online exchanges between opposing gang members often escalated into real-world confrontations, with social media acting as a virtual battleground for taunts and threats. Lil Jeff's online interactions were no exception. His posts frequently provoked responses from rivals, further intensifying the cycle of conflict. At just 21 years old, Lil Jeff lost his life in the very drill culture he embraced. But how did such a young man, full of life and potential, become entangled in the violence and crime that ultimately led to his demise? Lil Jeff and the Gangster, Disciple Nation. Before his death, Lil Jeff was affiliated with the Gangster Disciple Nation, one of the most powerful and deeply rooted gangs in Chicago's history. The group traces its origins back to the late 1950s, founded by two influential figures, Larry Hoover Sr. and David Barksdale, who sought to consolidate power in the city's growing gang scene. Over time, the Gangster Disciples became a dominant force, recognizable by their signature colors blue, black, gray, and white. The formation of the Gangster Disciples was, in part, a response to the socio-economic struggles faced by many African-American communities in Chicago. As the city battled poverty, segregation, and limited opportunities, the gang provided its members with a sense of belonging and protection. However, as the organization grew, it expanded its influence beyond just protection, becoming a major player in criminal activities such as drug trafficking, extortion, and violent conflicts with rival gangs. Over the decades, the Gangster Disciples extended their reach beyond Chicago, establishing a network of affiliates across the United States. This expansion solidified their reputation as one of the most structured and formidable gangs in the country. Despite continuous law enforcement crackdowns, the gang's presence remains deeply entrenched in Chicago's neighborhoods, contributing to the city's ongoing struggles with gang-related violence. Understanding the historical roots of the Gangster Disciple Nation provides insight into the environment Lil Jeff was born into. The gang's long-standing legacy of power and violence shaped the world he navigated, ultimately leading him down a path that would end in tragedy. In the heart of Chicago City, often referred to as Chirac, due to its high levels of gun violence, Jeff's story became yet another cautionary tale of how deep the cycle of street life runs.